He was harboring rioters who were linked to a recent anti-ICE protest in the area. The agents entered Nadler's office because they had been told that protesters were there and were concerned for the safety of his staff members.
In the meantime, in terms of how we will respond to what Trump and the administration has endeavored to do, we will make that decision in a time, place, and manner of our choosing.
So nothing.
But the response will be continuous, and it will meet the moment that is required.
What exactly does that mean? Have you not decided how to respond?
I can't even take it. Nadler in trouble. This guy's been waddling around Congress for like 4 decades now, and he just had his aides detained and his office raided, essentially, because they said that they were harboring rioters in his office. Under the floorboards? Where were they? Saying here that chaos exploded in Nadler's office after an aide to the Democratic representative, Jerry Nadler, was detained by Homeland agents inside Nadler's Manhattan office, according to reports, saying he was harboring rioters who were linked to a recent anti-ICE protest in the area. He's like shifting them, like in the Underground Railroad kind of a thing. Oh gosh. Says the incident was captured on video, which shows agents confronting staff, leading to the temporary detention of the aide. Homeland officers accused Nadler staff of harboring rioters. Official officers from the Federal Protective Service said that they responded to Nadler's, and we are always suspicious that he was wearing a diaper or something on there, which is what causes him to be so, first of all, short and kind of anchored into the world. Maybe it's just a gravity thing. It's like black hole. But he's been in Congress forever. He keeps getting reelected. Based on earlier incidents in a nearby facility, FPF officers were concerned about the safety of the federal employees in the office and went to the location to ensure the safety and well-being of those present. Nadler quickly pointed his finger to President Trump. He said, Trump and Homeland Security are sowing chaos in our communities, using intimidation tactics and more. He posted a whole thing about this. There is video on this, and the New York Times was reporting on it as well. Here's some video. Nick Sorter said, here's what it went down. DHS raided Jerry Nadler's office, accusing him of harboring rioters. One of his aides attempted to obstruct the officers by pushing them, and she ended up in handcuffs. Democrats are continuing to prioritize illegals and criminals over Americans. No doubt. Let's listen to this. Let's see what happened here.
No, she did not. That is not what happened.
That is not what happened.
Okay?
What?
Hold on a second.
Give out your contact information right now.
No, I'm going to give you some speak to you.
Hey.
That's what I'm
I'll
going to
speak
do.
to you.
We got you.
No.
I got you.
You're
okay.
I don't have to go.
You're okay. You're okay. You're going to be okay.
I'm a federal officer. We're here checking on something. We have the right to check. I'm
Can I
giving
see a
you.
warrant?
I'm not resisting. Stop resisting. You harboring rioters in the office. So there's not a problem. Let's walk inside. Let's walk through.
For what?
Let me see what's in here.
Who is this crying woman over there?
Come on.
Can you stay in
Hold it
get
there.
away from me?
Quit your crying. It's not going to help anybody. Gosh. Okay, they're going to let you go now because you're just crying. Gosh. All right, so I don't know what's going on out there. I know it's very traumatic to have to comply with the law, cops showing up, emotional trauma for the rest of her life. For one incident with the cops, never got a speeding ticket before. Who knows? Ultimately, what caused that? I'd like to see the police report, but it turns out they ultimately let them go. Captured on video, the episode occurred in the Manhattan office shortly after the aide observed agents detaining immigrants outside a courtroom, they said. Federal officers entered Nadler's office, happened shortly after someone else saw them detaining migrants in a public hallway outside an immigration courtroom in the same building. So did they go try to obstruct it? The episode was recorded by someone who was sitting in Mr. Nadler's office. And in the video, an officer of the Federal Protective Services, part of Homeland, is shown demanding access to a private area inside the office. The video was obtained by Gouveia, which earlier reported the confrontation. You're harboring rioters in the office, federal agent says. There were no riots reported on Wednesday at the building at Varick Street, though protesters and immigrants advocates gathered inside and outside the building earlier in the day. The immigration court is the 5th floor. Nadler's office is on the 6th floor. They were the floorboards. Says the agents entered Nadler's office because they had been told that protesters were there and were concerned for the safety of his staff members, according to the statement on Saturday. When they arrived, one individual became verbally confrontational and physically blocked access to the office. The person, an aide to the congressman, was detained so they could complete their safety check. Now in the video, a second aide standing at a door in the office asks one of the agents to show her a warrant. The agent says the officers do not need a warrant, walks past her. Robert Gouveia, Nadler's chief of staff, strongly disputed what Homeland said. Instead, he said it appeared the agents were angry because members of the congressman's staff had had seen the officers detaining migrants in the building, and they tried to backdoor Dugan them. They're inspired by her. They're like, wow, she's so heroic and inspirational to us. And so we are going to backdoor these illegals too. Trump administration is trying to intimidate members of Congress, said Nadler. They're behaving like fascists. A handful of people gathered around 1 p.m. on Wednesday in the hallway near the immigration courtroom and advised migrants of their right to stay silent as they were taken into custody, according to an immigrant rights advocate in attendance who spoke on condition of anonymity because of concerns of reprisal. Now, separately, a group of demonstrators had gathered outside the building. So there were protesters. They were there to protest an initiative by ICE. In the hallway outside the courtroom, federal agents questioned the observers about their presence and threatened to arrest them for loitering. Get out! As tensions flared, a member of Nadler's staff invited the advocates upstairs. Oh, under the Trump administration, so they did invite them in. Under the Trump administration, Homeland Security has increased its use of expedited removals. They've gathered outside immigration courtrooms and they're rounding people up out there. Last week, federal agents detained a 20-year-old man at an immigration courthouse from Venezuela, the first reported instance in a public school of a city being apprehended by federal officials. Represented a major escalation in the efforts to find them. I mean, maybe what should have happened, like I understand the argument, and I think Economath on our community has also brought this up, saying, you know, they should be granted some privilege and some leniency if they're coming to and from court. There shouldn't be this onslaught on them if they're engaging in the process, right? If they're just allowed to come and comport with the process. Well, the thing is, if they were charged with crimes and if this New York City was not a sanctuary city with sanctuary policies, from the moment they were arrested, they would have already been handed up and turned over to ICE in a functional country. Okay, the state would have validated that they are not citizens and held them in custody and then turned them over to ICE. But they didn't. They just let them go. So now when they come back, right, ICE is basically saying, well, we're just going to you should have snagged them when they first got here. So we're just going to come and get them. And we've got the right to do that. And now we know where they are and we don't have to go raid them in their houses or whatever. They just come to the court. We just pick them up there because you should have picked them up anyways, held on to them and handed them over to ICE in the first place because they got charged with crimes. They're in the country illegally, but the sanctuary cities are not. They're letting them go. So saying, okay, well, you can have your little state privilege all you want, but you should have picked them up and given them to us. We're the feds. So those efforts have required close coordination. And we've also seen that the feds are now, I think, charging them with crimes and issuing federal warrants to go into the jails and just pull them out of the jails, filing new cases on them. In previous political eras, the detainment of a congressman's aides in the search of his office might have prompted an outcry, said Nadler. Well, were they harboring illegals? But the current Republican majority in Congress staunchly supports the immigration agenda because we're sick of being invaded. That leaves even a member of Congress with little recourse. He said, the Trump administration is really using totalitarian or even authoritarian practices, and we have to fight them. We don't want to be a fascist country, says the dude who's a part of the party who tried to imprison their political opponents and then throw him off the ballot. They're going to turn around and lecture us because we don't want illegal aliens in our country. We don't want our Congress people. He's lucky he's not indicted in a co-conspiracy case with the rest of them and rounded up under RICO. I mean, if they want to go a fascist country, it's not fascism if we do what you do, right? We just say, oh, you facilitated an invasion of our country to 20 million people. You're all treasonous and you're all going to be prosecuted and indicted and no one's ever running for office again. Thank you. You know, and is that fascism? No, obviously it's not because they just did it. They just did it the last time. So by their rules, I think that's totally reasonable, right? All right. So we're obviously being facetious on that. We don't want to live in this world, but we want people who broke the law brought to justice and don't turn around and lecture us about fascism. So here is the response from Hakeem Jeffries. Timu Obama was on with Dana, and here's what their conversation sounded like.
Justice Department charged Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver with obstructing ICE agents after an altercation at a facility in Newark, New Jersey. Now, I know you previously warned that the administration charging members of Congress was a, quote, red line. What are you doing now that the red line you talked about has apparently been crossed?
Well, let me make clear
Nothing.
that the House is a separate and co-equal branch of government, the Congress. We don't work for Donald Trump. We don't work for the administration. We don't work for Elon Musk. We work for the American people, and we have a responsibility to serve as a check and balance on an out-of-control executive branch. That's the constitutional blueprint that was given to us by the framers of the United States democracy that we have inherited over the last few centuries. And so we're going to continue to undertake our congressional responsibility, notwithstanding efforts by the Trump administration to try to intimidate Democrats. It's unfortunate that our Republican colleagues continue to be nothing more than rubber stamps accounts for Trump's reckless and extreme.
It's wild how little he says when he talks. He just kind of gave us like a rough outline of the Constitution and then turned it on Republicans to say that they're just Trump rubber stampers.
Agenda, and the American people, I think, will ultimately reject that next year when we will take back control of the House of Representatives. In the meantime, in terms of how we will respond to what Trump and the administration has endeavored to do, we will make that decision in a time, place, and manner of our choosing.
So nothing.
But the response will be continuous, and it will meet the moment that is required.
So our response is going to be coming in the future, whenever we decide. And when it comes, it's going to be good. But you have to wait to find out what it is. But until then, we're a co-equal branch of government who's working on a plan. One of the worst exchanges you've seen recently.
What exactly does that mean? Have you not decided how to respond?
Oh my gosh. I can't even take it. I had no idea that was coming, obviously. That was incredible.
We've publicly responded in a variety of different ways. We haven't let our foot off the gas pedal in terms of additional things that may take place with respect to our congressional oversight, authority, and capacity. We will respond in a time, place, and manner of our choosing if this continues to happen.
You believe, as Jerry Nadler said, that
No idea.
the administration is trying to intimidate Democrats?
Even she, all right, no idea what he just said.
I think the administration is clearly trying to intimidate Democrats in the same way that they're trying to intimidate the country. This whole shock and awe strategy, this flood the zone with outrageous behavior.
It's not outrageous.
That they've tried to unleash on the American people during the first few months of the Trump administration is all designed to create the appearance of inevitability. But Donald Trump has learned an important lesson. The American people aren't interested in bending the knee to a wannabe king. The reason why Donald Trump actually is the most unpopular president at this point of a presidency.
Whatever, man. You guys are struggling. That was absolutely hysterical. What exactly does that mean? No one knows, Dana. No one knows. Great analysis from her. Great question for once. I don't know. No one really knows what exactly that means. So Nadler is housing illegals on the 5th floor, inviting them in, getting raided. His staff is crying like you just ended her entire existence and nothing happened. She, of course, was detained and released and they did their job. But Hakeem Jeffries is going to respond and I can't wait for this. It's going to be good. It's going to be at a time, place, and manner of his choosing. And when it drops, it's going to be consequential and it's going to mean business. So, okay, that's the Democrats. We'll keep our eye on that one.